Welcome to Aspire for More Institute. Today we're going to talk about how do you price your product or service to make a profit. When you're looking to price your product or service, you want to consider, if it's a product, what is the perceived value and what's the actual value. An example of that, let's say for example you want to buy a pair of sneakers. The perceived value could be, if it's a pair of Nike or Jordans, the perceived value could be up to $100. But if you're looking for just an actual value, that actual sneaker costs Nike around $21 to produce. So there's an actual value that you want to consider when pricing your product or service, and then there's the perceived value of the customer. If you're offering a service and then you want to look at the perceived value versus the actual value, we'll use the example of a fitness coach. If you have a fitness coach and the fitness coach happens to be someone that's unknown, that's just starting out, the actual value of the fitness coach and the perceived value of that service by that coach is going to be perceived differently from the customer. So if I have a fitness coach, and let's say for example we use Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and if he offers coaching services, the perceived value is going to be a higher value because that is a celebrity offering that service. And so your customer is paying for the right to be able to be coached by someone who's a celebrity who's going to coach them at a different level and give them an audience with a different level of people. Okay, we're going to take the concept of perceived value versus actual value and apply it to a service-oriented business. If you're in a service-oriented business, there is a perceived value that the customer will have depending on what you come to the table with. If you have a license, if your particular service is exclusive to a certain type of customer, your customers are going to begin to think, well, I'm paying more because I'm going to a licensed professional. I'm paying more because I'm going to someone who maybe is a celebrity trainer versus an ordinary trainer. So there is possible to have a different price level when you're offering a service versus offering a product, and then a different price level even within the same type of offering. So if I'm a personal trainer, I can offer a lot more if I'm a personal trainer that will come to your house and provide personal training. So it's not only is it exclusive, but it's also helping you to save time, to save money by having the trainer come to you. If I'm a personal trainer where you have to go to a gym and pay for the gym price and pay for my price as a trainer, then I have to factor those costs in determining the service price that's going to be offered to the customer. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is pricing your actual product or service, and we're going to use the example of someone who wants to start a beverage company and they want to develop a beverage that they're going to send. And let's say you want to start a beverage company and you want to sell organic juices. So when you're pricing that product, you have to consider several things in pricing for your organic juices. The cost of building the actual material, so that's the cost of each bottle that it's going to house the beverage that you're selling. The cost of packaging that bottle, so the label that goes around it involves a cost. The ink, the actual label, and having the factory set that label up on your packaging is going to cost you money. So you have to factor that into your raw costs. The cost of the bottle being sealed, the cost of the bottle being shipped from the location that you have it being produced to your actual end customer is involved in pricing your product or service. So when you're looking at developing a product, you want to make sure that you've incorporated all the costs in developing that product, all the costs in shipping that product to your end consumer, and then the cost of reinvesting back into your business to be able to build the inventory to continue selling to your customer. And if you have more than one product line, so let's say you have a beverage but you have 10 different flavors, you're now adding the cost of several different flavors, and you're adding the cost of several different types of advertising. So the more products that you have, the higher your expense is going to be. So when you look at pricing your product, you want to include everything from the actual shipping to the production to distribution and to the end customer, and then make sure you have enough money left over to be able to reinvest into your company so that your company can be in it for the long haul. Where entrepreneurs tend to mess up is that they don't have enough money planned or saved. When you look at developing that product, make sure that you're factoring the raw cost of the product. If it's a beverage or if it's a food, then there are costs for those items. Also note that if you're including things that are seasonal or that, if you're including things that are seasonal or something that's related to, let's say example for the fruit, the cost of fruit can vary from season to season, and you want to make sure that you factor that cost. If you're building a product where certain parts of your product come from a different country or they're exclusive to a particular manufacturer, you want to make sure that you build in that cost too. And you want to make sure that you can get your parts for your product from several different distributors and manufacturers. Say for example, that particular manufacturer that you are buying, let's say the batteries that are in the kit that you're offering to sell, that manufacturer goes out of business, you have to be able to get those batteries to still build your kit and get it to your customer. So you want to make sure you factor in the possibility of having to change distributors and the possibility of prices fluctuating depending on the market and depending on the season.